Hello and welcome everybody to Love All Green's growing plot. Yes, I am in my pyjamas, but no, I'm not going to tell you a bedtime story. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and just before I was going to bed. Normally I go about 9, half 9, and I checked the temperature in here and it was still 12, so I thought I'll go to bed and then I'll get back up after watching some YouTube videos, and I'll set the tea lights then, just so that the heat carries on for longer into the night. And I've also come to check my chili pepper plants that I was a little bit worried about, really. I foolishly planted them into the grow sacks without taking advice, really. But while I was on YouTube, I watched the chili prepper and allotment joy, and allotment joy is in my country, I believe, the UK, so I thought I'll just message her and ask her, because she's got chili peppers in her greenhouse, and she did reply very quickly. Thank you very much, Elaine. And so she answered me about temperatures, that her greenhouse is about 10 degrees, so I thought, well, I'm okay, but I don't know what temperature it gets to in here just before sunrise in the morning. So she did advise putting fleece over them. So just as a backup, I have covered a couple of them with plastic containers just to keep the heat in, and I have put hay over them actually just to keep the soil warm, the same as I have with the tomatoes. So it is actually still 12 degrees in here, but I'm going to set the tea lights anyway, so they should keep going for at least 3 hours like they normally do. Okay, so I'm going to keep the containers on those two. I've only planted out 5 of them, the biggest ones that were store-bought. I've not planted out any of my little ones that I sold myself, and I repotted 3 other store-bought ones, but they're back in the house on the windowsill. But obviously I can't take these grow bags into the house. Okay. It's actually a beautiful night. It makes you want to sleep under the stars outside. Nah, it looks like it's going to absolutely chuck it down actually. It's nice and warm though. They're fine this morning. I'll show you what varieties I put in. So I put a melon melba there in the corner at the end of the bag. That one is a Scotch bonnet pepper. That one is a patio pepper, terrazzi. That one has a mild flavour, a mild heat should I say. This is a sweet pepper, New Ace. This is a cayenne pepper, just cayenne F1 patio. And this one is another sweet pepper. It's the purple one, tequila. So I'm hoping they all survive and produce well, and I picked colours that they look all colourful together. Now I'd like a little discussion with you about ants. There are loads of ants in here. They're all over the place. They're climbing up all the any woodwork or anything like that, and they're in all the pots that are high up and everything. Now I've not minded them being in here because I've always thought that they don't do much harm. They loosen the soil and things like that. I know that they farm aphids and they look after the aphids and protect them from predators of aphids like ladybirds and that. So if you have ants and you have aphids and your ladybirds, the ladybirds aren't going to win because the ants are going to protect those aphids, so you need to get rid of the ants in that case. Just outside my polytunnel door here there's a strawberry tree, and it's never produced fruit. It's been there about maybe 4 years. It's quite tall, and it always gets flowers but no fruit every year. So last year it was absolutely covered in aphids, green ones, and all the leaves were really sticky and everything. And this year, you know, it doesn't look very healthy anyway because it's got black spot all over the leaves. But this year I could see the ants going up and down the trunk, up and down, up and down. And I thought, no, you're not this year. You're not robbing me of my fruit. So I kept spraying it every single day, because every time I'd spray it, like, they'd die, but the next morning there'd be obviously only a few more. But I thought, I'm going to keep doing it, you know, for as long as I have to. Now the ants have given up with that tree altogether. There's not a single one that I've spotted going up and down the branch. So I've kept an eye on this cherry tree that our Connor got me for Mother's Day. Now I thought this is an ideal candidate for aphids and stuff, so I thought I'm keeping an eye on it. And I noticed that there was not one single aphid, none. But the ants were still going up and down, and they seemed to be, I'll just show you. They seemed to be concentrating on the area right at the base of each leaf. Like they were nibbling, they were doing something. I thought, they have no reason to be up and down this tree if they're trying to find aphids, because there wasn't any, and I know there weren't any. It's not like I missed them, because I just so want this little tree to do well. And then a couple of days later I noticed, especially at the bottom here on this little bit of growth, it was absolutely covered in black aphids, and there were ants all over it. Yeah, and a little bit further up as well. See, there's one, but I have sprayed them. See, there's one, but I have sprayed them, so I think that might be dead, hopefully. I know it works with the green aphids to spray them with soapy water. And luckily it's still in a pot and not in a small pot, so I could turn it upside down and do all the leaves and that. Now what I've also spotted, and these weren't there, I swear these weren't there before the aphids, but the ants were chewing at the bottom of the leaves. There weren't these little red bumps which I've just at the base of the leaf. When I looked up, they're called extra floral nectar something or other, and some people seem to be of the train of thought that the plant produces it, these little red bumps. I'll show you in a second. The plant produces these to attract pollinators. Now, I wouldn't say an ant's a pollinator as such, really. It could possibly do it by accident, but the bumps aren't where the fruit would form, any flowers would form, or anything like that. So I don't think that's correct, really. So my theory is that the ants were doing something to the base of the leaves to make them produce these bumps, and that these bumps then in turn attract the aphids, because any pollinators are attracted by the flowers in most cases, I would say. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me other than that the ants were doing something. So let me know what you think, because I think the flowers themselves attract the pollinators. There's no need for the bumps. I'll show you them now. So do you see them there? Like little red bumps, and apparently they're like little sacks of honeydew. One thing that the ants do apparently do is ferry the aphids to the prime spots for the aphids to eat. So like a bit like a taxi service really, so they could potentially carry them from plant to plant. I've never witnessed them doing that myself, but yeah, crafty, aren't they? So let me know what you think. Are the ants being very cunning and attracting the aphids in the first place? Or are they just enjoying the honeydew and the kind of like, then dessert comes along? And these are black aphids, by the way. And other people have commented on various things on various forums that they have the same. First the ants arrive, and then black aphids arrive when there's these bumps. So I don't know, but I think I'm going to get some ant powder and get rid of the ants in here, because to be honest, I don't want to be in a battle with yet another pest. This is the asparagus bed that I mentioned last time, and I said that I wasn't happy with the asparagus being in here because it keeps sending up, it keeps multiplying, like spreading, but they're all still whippy. But actually I take that comment back because they are getting a little bit thicker, some of them this year. So I've just given it a quick weed, and I'm quite happy that I have double the amount of strawberries in here because they sent out runners last year. I've put the Monge 2 peas in because peas and beans put in nitrogen into the soil, so I thought it might just help a little bit as well, even though things might seem like they're squashed in. I think this bed will benefit from peas or beans being planted in here. I've taken the net off all the brassicas in the brassica bed. You couldn't see them proper last time because the other netting was on, but I'm going to put the new netting that I've got over the top. So yeah, everything's doing well. I'm actually going to plant, I think, what you call catch crops in between these, like spinach, put some spur cornflowers in between them, things like that. I've actually got a spud. This was the spud bed last year that because I didn't come from September, and I just left them in, to be honest, and they all mainly rotted off. I did find a few that were still okay, but so he's over there. I can't see where I'm pointing because of the sun, but and these are the green broccolis over this side. There's not actually anything under this plastic at the minute, so I'm going to see what I've got in my stash over there. I think I was saving it for the kohlrabi, but that's still at home actually. Of the wildflowers in this bed have popped up, and I must have sown some cornflowers or something in this bed as well with the broad beans. I must have just sprinkled whatever in, and it looks like I've got flowers coming up. As you saw, I've put the sunflowers in with the sweet corn. I was a bit worried actually, because I planted them on Saturday and then Easter Sunday was scorching hot, and I was worried that they'd sizzle under the plastic, and then the next day after that we had downpours, so then I was worried that the weight of the rain would make all the canes poke through and it had all just collapsed. The canes had poked through a couple of holes, but it was all still kept off the sweet corn, so I was pleasantly surprised when I came. There is slug damage to some of the courgettes as well. A couple of them have collapsed. Sorry I cut the footage from the plot short. The camera said insufficient footage on the SD card, so I thought I'll just leave it there because I had so many things to do and I didn't want to be going through all the videos seeing what I could delete, so sorry about that anyway. But I think I just left it where I was just showing you that there was slug damage on the courgettes, and a couple of them had collapsed and they looked like they'd just rotted from the root, to be honest. But because I'd sown so many, I planted so many and they produce a lot, I had way too many anyway, so I'm not really upset about that. All in all, I'm pleased how this week's gone, because the little tomato that was looking very sad when I first put him in the tomato grow bags has picked up as well. He's looking okay. And in spite of me one night leaving all the vents open by accident on polytunnel, everything's fine. Even the chillies are fine because they were fleeced at night anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. I did manage to pot on the Fiesta popping corn. I've got jobs to do in the back garden. I'm going to maybe plant out some of the runny beans in the back garden and things. Oh, I did germinated some more cucumbers, but I have got 2 or 3 that are doing alright, although the ones that I transplanted into the ground in the polytunnel, they're not totally dead, but I think I'm going to give up on them because I don't think they're going to recover. They keep going a little bit worse and a little bit worse, so I think actually they were only they're the ones that I upset the roots because I'd sown them in a pot with others. So even the ones where they're still in a pot, but I only wanted one out of the pot, because the roots have been disturbed, they've not liked it. So I think in future I've learned cucumbers and melons do not disturb the roots. Yeah, so they can all be sown in their own pots in future. I have germinated some more cucumbers, and again I've done way too many because I made the mistake of, I looked on the packet and I thought, I had 2 packets opened, one of them the date was ripped off and the other one I'd just seen 2022 and thought, oh, they're old seeds, so I thought I might as well see if they'll sprout anyway, like I always do. And let's see, yeah, I think all but one have sprouted. And when I've checked the packet to show you that, I was going to say, oh, it's old seed, you know, 2022, they were supposed to run out. It's amazing and that, but when I've rechecked the packet, it said that they were packaged in 2022 and so by 2026, so I've got too many cucumbers again. But cucumbers is one of my favourite vegetables. I absolutely love them with everything. So yeah, what am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna put some of them straight into the ground to replace those ones that are practically dead, and just see if they do okay from this stage in here. And the 2 melons as well that were in the ground, I'm going to replace those with ones that were in the pots by themselves, so they'll not have any root disturbance, and hopefully they'll do well. Now I was going to germinate some more melon melbas but they all seem fine actually, even the ones that I've put in the grow bags and that. So, and I didn't have no seed left, but I'm going to see if they'll be okay and they don't try and fruit too early anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to put these in the ground. Oh, I did manage to germinate some more normal sweet corn as well, so I've got actually 13 of those on the go. Yeah, so all is good. One last thing before I go, I am going to sow some sunflower harlequins straight into the ground. I'm expecting they'll be eaten because they always seem to when I try and direct sow anything that's like a pea or a sunflower, a seed that mice like. So yeah, they were just off the Garden News magazine. Andy always buys it me in spring and summer because I like the 3 packets of seeds. Although I don't like these ones. Well, it's not that I don't like them. They're things that I think I would regret sowing. They're all hardy annuals, and I just think a couple of them look like no, actually, up to 3 of them probably will look like weeds, and I think they'll just get out of hand. And the other one, I'll show you. Wild parsley. Yeah, I don't mind that because you can eat it. So I might do that. Might do that one. Celine. It looks like it's got a pretty flower, but is it really, really tiny? Is it going to look like a weed? And it says it's a hardy annual. And self seeds. What's it saying? That's how it puts it. Self-seeds freely. That means to me it's going to be a problem. This one to me just looks like a weed. I may just... Has anybody got any experience of these? Have they sown any? And this one, it's a foxglove. I love foxgloves, but... And this is a cafe creme, it says, but I actually don't like the colour. I think it looks like, you know, when so you've just got the normal foxgloves and the finished reeling, they start going brown and dead. That's what I think that looks like. Yeah, I'm not keen. I might sort out all the flower seeds that I don't want and put them in a box on the wall on the front just for the locals to help themselves if they want them. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog and I've not rambled too much. I tend to ramble when I'm at the plot because I've got... Connor wasn't a happy bunny. He just wanted to go home. He doesn't do the hot weather. Although he sits there with his jacket on. Yeah, so he wasn't a happy bunny, so I was trying to hurry as much as I can. Because he was pecking my head every 2 minutes. When are you done? When are you done? So I always start rambling then. Everything's a rush, and you know, even on Saturday when Andy drops me off and I'm there on my own, I feel like I'm rushing all the time. So I'm rambling. I'm rambling now too. Anyway, I'm going to leave it. Bye. See you next week.